Hey guys, welcome to my class, How to Book 10K Plus Clients Using Brand Strategy. I'm very excited to be talking to you about this today. I love this class. I think it'll be really helpful for you. Just a few things before we go ahead and get started. If you randomly see me changing outfits and then changing scenery too, it's because I recorded this class in a few different places. I actually recorded this originally for a summit. That like a paid summit that you would actually pay money for, so it's a good class, trust me. And I just went to go and edit it and stuff for you guys so that you guys could have this too. Just a few more things. I do have a course that is all about brand strategy. It's a paid course that I will be pitching at the end. Even if you don't join the course, I just want to let you guys know that there is a pitch at the end, just so you know. But even if you don't, there's a lot of benefit that you'll be getting throughout this course. This is really meant to help you. Like I said, this was a class that I actually gave at a paid summit, so you'll still get a lot out of it whether you join the course or not. And I know it probably just seems like I'm a scammy designer that sucks and that wants to make a few dollars, but I promise you will get a lot out of this. So let's go ahead and get started into this. And as you're watching, tag me, Carliana. There's my little Instagram handle, or you can tag me on TikTok. Same handle. I love to see you guys, hear what your guys' favorite takeaways were, or if you just genuinely have any questions, love to chat with you. That's honestly the best part of doing these things, is connecting with you guys afterwards. So yeah, I'll see you there. Okay, and if you have any questions, sorry, one more thing. If you have any questions, just pop them in the chat box or email me at carly@carliana.co. and I will be sure to answer any questions that you have there. But before we get started, I want to let you guys know that I can absolutely help you create a $10,000 service. No matter where you're starting, I know I can help you get there. I did an Instagram poll, if you follow me on Instagram, a few weeks ago about what package price people were trying to break into. You know, are you trying to get into to charge $5,000 for your brand strategy packages? Are you trying to charge $10,000, $1,000? And honestly, I was a little shocked to see that most people are actually struggling to even just get out of that $1,000 to $3,000 range and start charging $5,000, $6,000, $7,000, $10,000. And so even though $10,000 might seem a little out of reach for you, I promise you I can help you get to that point. I've had so many students who start at $400 a logo and then months later are at $10,000 for their packages. And here's why I think I'm qualified to teach you. So I'm Carliana, just a little bit about me. I started this design business 5 years ago after my husband told me this career existed. I honestly had no idea. And again, I started charging out $400 a logo. That's where I started out. I was a college dropout, self-taught. I was 19 years old when I started, had absolutely no idea what I was doing. And now, fast forward to today, I am a multiple six-figure business owner and brand strategist. I've worked with some of the most well-known people in my niche and industry. I'm now booking at a 15K minimum, which is just absolutely mind-boggling to me. And I'm the main breadwinner in my family with 2 babies, working just 2 hours a day, and I'm putting my husband through his master's. And I hesitate to say that because I know it sounds really braggy, and I hate sounding braggy. Like, literally makes my skin crawl. But I think it's really important for you guys to know where I started at, so that you guys can see what's possible for you. So, you know, I've been there and I get it and I understand these aren't strategies that worked. I didn't join Instagram years ago and was Instagram famous. I don't have that many followers and all that stuff. Like, this stuff works, and it was all because of brand strategy. That is really what genuinely helped me get to the place where I'm at now. And here's why I believe that brand strategy is the thing that changed all of that for me, is because I strongly and firmly believe that you cannot have a $10,000 service, a $10,000 package, whatever you want to call it, without solving a $10,000 problem. Even just one $10,000 problem. You cannot have, I just think, you know, sometimes we're like, oh, we feel like we have to add more. We have to have more time, experience behind us. We have to be able to, add more deliverables on. We're going to have to grow our team. We're going to have to get more credentials, more, in order to be able to charge $10,000, when that's not the case at all. In fact, we can be charging, no matter what your experience, credentials, all that stuff is, you can be charging $10,000 for a package as long as you are solving at least a $10,000 problem. That's all you have to do. And I know you guys all in here have the skills to totally do that. I know if you're like all of a sudden getting anxiety about thinking about solving a $10,000 problem, I want to put you at ease. It's not as hard as you think. You're probably, again, you already have the skills. You're probably already somewhat doing it. You just aren't putting the skills into practice, putting them into the format, and talking about them in the way that you should, and to be able to say, yes, look, I am able and I'm skilled to solve this $10,000 problem. And during this class, I'm going to show you guys how to do that. So let's first start out with the base of what the heck brand strategy is, because brand strategy is a really intangible thing. Sometimes it can be really confusing to people of like what the heck brand strategy even is. Everybody seems to have their own definition of it, and so I just really want to get this definition out there before we start diving really deep into it. So I believe that effective brand strategy is broken up into two effective parts in order for it to really work. And in order to really charge those $10,000 prices, you have to have these two parts working harmoniously. And there's two steps. One comes first, one comes second. The first is the strategy session. So the strategy session, you've probably heard of a lot of people doing a strategy session. I have a very specific format in order. I feel like, anyways, we'll get to that in a little bit about how to have an effective strategy session, because I think there's lots of wrong ways to do it, and in fact, a strategy session and a few right ways. So a strategy session is basically just where you are collecting information. It's a phone call or a video call or a meetup where it's a transfer of information from your client to you. It's kind of like a replacement of the questionnaire. I still kind of do a questionnaire, but it's a way more effective way to get information, to brainstorm solutions with your client, because it sets you up as a collaborative partner right from the beginning, rather than just being a subordinate order taker, because you are working with them right from the beginning in a strategy session. They get to see your brain work, and you get to bring them into the process. And that is the very first step into my branding process, is the strategy session. And next, that leads into the second part of brand strategy, which is where we start to execute everything that we talked about in the strategy session. Plus, we do a little bit of additional research on our own, like competitive analysis, those kinds of things. And we start to execute it in what I like to call the brand carry-all. Some people call it like a brand strategy document, just brand strategy or whatever. I call it the brand carry-all because there is so much, I feel like, that is wrapped up into this like 20-page document that I'm creating for my people. We're really just like building up to presenting and talking to them about, okay, this is what we're actually going to tangibly do for you. Here's the design solutions that I have for your company in mind, and all the brand strategy before that explains why it is that we're doing what we're doing. So like, we need to talk about your client avatar. We need to talk about your competitive analysis. We need to talk about brand values and the voice, talk about everything and define all of that before we can talk about how that's translating into a visual design aesthetic. So that's kind of how I see the brand carry-all. So by the end of the brand strategy, you will be able to tell your client, or you should be able to tell your client, the buying process that their client or that their audience goes through when they buy something, who they should collaborate with and network with for optimal growth, where the gaps are in their industry and how to capitalize on them, how to use their strengths and their weaknesses in a profitable strategy, what makes the difference from their competition, or what makes them different from their competition, what struggles their audience has when buying something and how to combat that with your help, how mood boards and colors and type choices fit with everything that you've just showed them, and then a few of your design solutions to help align with, again, everything before that. And if you're thinking like, Carly, I kind of already do that, and I love my questionnaire and I love what I'm doing, it's great. That's totally fine. If you love what you're doing, great. This class isn't for you. But let me just tell you a little bit about like what I believe mediocre brand strategy can do and is versus high-level brand strategy, and why there's such a huge difference there. So I like to use this little metaphor of hiking and adventuring because I just love to be outdoors. It makes sense to me. So I believe so. Mediocre brand strategy to me is kind of like this. It's kind of like you're sending your client out on this adventure. Like they are the hiker and you are preparing them for this like really, really awesome hike, this adventure into their business. And before they are sent off into this awesome adventure, mediocre brand strategy is kind of like handing your client this like adorable hand-drawn map, cute sun hat, and just like wishing them the best of luck with their brand. And they're going to feel good about it for like 20 minutes before they realize it's just not going to cut it. Versus high-level brand strategy, which is like handing your client this brand new hiking backpack that's equipped with state-of-the-art military-grade compass, topographic map, and the exact gear that they're going to need for the terrain that they're in and literally everything else that they need to navigate their brand successfully. Make sense? Yes? Okay, so if you take the approach of an average designer, you're constantly feeling the pressure to create more deliverables and better designs, but at the same time, you're kind of at the mercy of what the client thinks they want. I don't know if you guys have ever heard this, but if you're like, well, this sounds great and this is beautiful, but my favorite color is yellow, and therefore I think our brand should be yellow. And you're like, wait, but that doesn't make sense. It doesn't go with anything that I studied. That's kind of what brand strategy like helps you like avoid. Plus, we kind of already talked about how if you feel that pressure, the only way you can raise your prices is to do more, have more. Strategy takes all that away from you. So your clients are honestly, let's just myth bust this for a little bit. Your clients are not going to care in 5, 10, or 15 years if their brand was so on trend and so beautiful, even though that is so important. But what they really, really, truly want and why they are really coming to you at the end of the day is because of this. Because they want their unique stories, their businesses, and their inspirations to be taken into consideration and to be turned into a brand that turns people's heads. They want their brand to guide how they approach every aspect of their business, from marketing decisions to hiring decisions to what should I post today. They want their brand to guide every piece of that so it becomes seamless and easy to make those decisions. And they want to see themselves in their brand. And not only see themselves in a brand, but see it in a really, really powerful way that helps them understand who they truly are and where they fit into their niche. Like, who am I? Who are the other people? Like, they feel grounded in who they are, and they can really be confident in owning the space that they are in. Oops, skipped ahead. So a successful business owner that allows them, what they really want is a successful business that allows them to live the life that they dream of. They want to be profitable, to stand out from the rest of their niche, and to feel like their brand was truly custom built with the problems that you are trying to solve in mind. And when you can do that, that's when you've really, really mastered brand strategy. And you just cannot create that really powerful magic if you're relying on your client's questionnaire answers to guide the branding process and you're not going in depth with brand strategy. So before we dive into how to do this, I just want to give you an example to recap everything we just talked about why brand strategy is so important, why it can do this, because of this brand right here. So this is a finished brand that I did with a client, the Azalea, which is an awesome, beautiful brand. And this was the finished result. It was beautiful. But it honestly, if we hadn't done brand strategy, it would not have turned out anything like this at all. In fact, it would have turned out a little bit more like this, which again is beautiful and amazing. And I love this work, but super different from this. And the reason why it didn't end up turning into something like this is because when we, during the questionnaire and the Pinterest board, which I'm sure you guys have your clients fill out at the beginning of the process, and you're just like, hey, tell me about your stuff. Tell me what you want, da, da, da. And she was like, this is what I want. She had filled her Pinterest inspiration board with images like this, which is great. Again, beautiful. But when we were talking on this strategy session, remember that's the first part of brand strategy, she was telling me about some of her audience's problems and that the big objection that they were going to have with this, she's a wedding venue, and the biggest problem they're going to have is there was a lot of turnaround in this area and in this space that she was having. And nobody really trusted in that area, whatever was going to replace the next failed business. They're like, whatever, it's just going to last a few months or maybe a year and then it's going to go away. Like, nobody really took it seriously. And so we needed to really create a brand that was powerful, that was classic. It didn't feel too trendy. And that was really, really powerful. It stood with confidence. And these designs, even though they were beautiful, they didn't necessarily communicate that. And so we created something like this, which still matched up with a lot of the other designs on her inspiration board and still felt very much like her. But we instantly knew when she told me that, like, which direction we should go in. And it was very, very clear to us at that moment. And again, if we hadn't done brand strategy, high level brand strategy or brand would have been totally different. So to wrap all of that up, branding is about building a distinctive space for your clients' businesses to live from the ground up. We're not creating something beautiful. We're not creating something on trend, although that stuff is important. And that stuff is definitely going to happen, creating a brand that feels beautiful, on trend, and like part of reflective of who they are. But it's at the end of the day, what they really, really want is something that's distinctive, something that's going to set them apart. And in order to do all this, you have to take on the role of the strategist. You guys have got to do this. So let's go back to this little infographic about what brand strategy is. We're going to break this down a little bit more. So again, we got the strategy session first, and then we've got the brand carry-all. So we're going to take a deeper dive into the strategy session first. And I'm going to talk to you guys a little bit about what that actually physically looks like. And then I'm going to break down a few of the problems that I see a lot of strategists make. So that when you guys are doing strategy sessions with your clients, you can avoid these mistakes too, and you can apply these right into your business calls. So this is how a little screenshot of how I like to do my strategy sessions. It's a Zoom call where I'm live with my client. Anybody who's on their team gets on. I bring in everybody on my team, my copywriter, my brand strategy assistant, anybody else who I feel like needs to be there on that team. The more people, anywhere from like 5 to maybe 9 people is good. Or 2, you can even just do like you and the client, that's fine. But anyways, it looks a lot like this, where I have a few basic questions, and I have I have a list by me of a lot of really great follow-up questions that I can ask, a lot of questions that if I felt guided to, that I could potentially ask. But at the end of the day, I have these common questions that, not common, but these heartful, deep questions that really, really that are going to guide the entire process, that need to be answered. And I have just pages of these questions that we are filling out together through this guided process. But really, that stuff is great about what it tangibly looks like on the surface. But on a deeper level, the strategy session is really awesome. What it's supposed to do is it helps you think deeper about everything that you're doing, because you're having to do it with purpose and intent. You're having to ask questions. You are having to think about everything before you write it down, and you're working with the client. And without the strategy session, you're kind of just, if you don't have a strategy session, and if you're not asking follow-up questions, and you're not challenging your client, and you're not clarifying things, what you're basically doing is you're just regurgitating things from your client's questionnaire. Like when you're asking them, who's your audience? What struggles do they have? What do you want? And if you're just taking those answers, and then you're taking those into a brand strategy template that you found on Creative Market or whatever, it doesn't really solve any problems. You're just regurgitating what they told you on the questionnaire. And so this strategy session really helps you dig deeper into okay, why is this even happening? And what's going on beneath that? That's where all the juicy stuff is going to come from. That's actually going to help you in the designing process and make the rest of the process easier. And we'll talk about that in a little bit about why. So again, you're pinning yourself up against other branding designers who don't dig deep, because it looks like you really, not that it looks like, but you do actually care about what's going on in this client's brand, and your client can feel it. You are genuinely listening to them, and they love it. You're starting at the foundation of why there even is a problem in the first place, instead of just thinking of surface level solutions that may not be the best solution. So this is and we're again going to talk about this in a little bit, but this is a problem that I see a lot of strategy sessions have, is they just talk about solutions, things that they want their brand to look like, and they just talk about how that's going to happen. But the strategy sessions are not there for that. Strategy sessions are there to figure out why are these problems even happening in the first place? How can we stop them from happening in the future? And how are we going to really solve these deep core problems that are affecting multiple facets of the business? And then lastly, you're actually trying to solve a problem and your clients can tell you're bringing into the process. So here's 4 mistakes that people make when they're doing a strategy session and how to fix them. Because again, I'm sure you've heard of this term strategy session. You might have even do it in your own business. So I want to address just a few things here about how you can make your strategy sessions better for max impact. So mistake number 1 is that the strategy session isn't a phone call where the client gets to talk about their ideas. Guys, this is such a huge mistake I always see people make. This is not a phone call where you get to bounce ideas off of. Yes, brainstorming is so important, but this isn't a brainstorming session. This is a strategy session. So tell me if this little dialogue looks familiar. So have you guys ever had a strategy session that just turned into a phone call of your client telling you what they wanted and asking you how to do that? And you might have even had really great intentions where you're trying to get the core of the problem solved, like this. So you might ask, like, can you tell me a little bit more of who your audience actually is? And then they might come back and say, like, oh, they're all people that love all things like luxury and they want a fancy experience. Therefore, like, I want a website that feels like Kim Kardashian's earring in Bora Bora. Like, can you do that? And they start prescribing solutions to their problem. And then you'll probably come back and be like, oh yeah, here's how we can do that. I think that's possible. Sounds fun. Great. Cool. End of phone call. You didn't really solve problems besides talking about what you want the finished product to look like. Versus this, which it could be a way more collaborative process. So tell me which conversation sounds a little bit better. So you start off by saying, you as the brand strategist, you start off by saying, let's first talk about how your audience thinks to discover what's really, let's talk about what, oh, sorry guys, I phrased that weird. So let's first talk about what your audience thinks. We want to discover what's important to them and how they make an important decision, like buying your client's product. And so let's start with the question, how do they view relationships? And then they'll come back and they'll say, great, they're really close with their family, but they struggle with keeping friends around, I think. And then you come back and you'll say, that's really interesting. Can you tell me why you think they struggle keeping friends around? I want to make sure that your business is a friend that they want to keep around. And they come back and say, well, I think that they want to feel like they're the center of attention, but they're just not getting that from their friends. And then you can come back and then you're basically rephrasing what they're saying and then kind of brainstorming a little bit together. So you're saying, so would you say it's safe to say we really need to use uplifting language and colors and maybe use some interactive elements on your website to involve them? And they say, heck yeah, sounds great. So you need to structure your strategy sessions. Otherwise it becomes a brainstorming session. That's kind of like the solution to not it becoming just a order taking call, is having, if you come to the call with a structure in place. And here's a structure that I like to use, and I go more in depth into my course, BMM, the brand mapping method, about how to do this. But just a brief overview, how I like to do this is, first, I like to cover demographics of the audience, of who the target audience is. And then we go into the psychographics of the target audience. And then we go into the buying journey, and then we go into problems and objections. So you can do with that what you will. And then problem number 2 is not using a presentation tool to organize and take notes. Guys, this is another really, really huge problem. So presentation tools are, gotta plug in my thing. So presentation tools are really, really awesome for 3 reasons. The first is that you get to keep your notes organized in columns and pages. I don't know how many times you guys have had like a Google Doc open or a draft of an email open, and you're just like madly typing out anything that they're saying, and you just, by the end of the phone call, have like 3 pages of nonsense that you're like, I don't even know how I'm going to pull through this. And then when you're working through it later, when you're creating the mood board, you're like, wait, what? I swear they said something like this. And you're having to scroll through it, and it's a mess, and it's horrible, and you just never, it's like, wow, that phone call was a waste. Because it's not organized. And so when you have it broken up into columns and into sections and pages of like, okay, here's where I need to know everything about their the step one of the buying process. Here's everything where I need to know about their objections. Like, let's list all their objections out right here. It's going to help you so much better. Number two reason why it's so awesome to have a presentation tool during your call or your strategy session is your client, as you're talking during the strategy session, your client gets to kind of see what's going on in your mind, and they get to see already how you're translating what they are saying into words. And it gives them a peek into the process. So as they're talking about what they feel like are their audience's problems, you're writing notes and they get to be like, yes, 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 again. And they feel like they're part of the process and they can see everything that's happening. Number three is you get to take charge right at the beginning. So with a presentation tool, why it's so awesome is because you get to have a presentation before the strategy session begins, introducing them to the strategy session, introducing them to self. Even in my strategy session, we even kind of go over like, what is branding? What's an identity? What's a logo? What are we doing during this call? You can set up some guidelines for the call. I like to do that. And you get to let them know what they're going to expect. You get to write down a few of their questions. Like having that beforehand stuff gives your clients so much more of a safer space to open up and to give you the answers that they're really needing and looking for. If you don't help them feel safe and if you don't let them know like, yes, I'm taking charge. Yes, there's a structure to this. They're going to feel really weird about opening up. They're going to feel like they're saying the wrong things. They're not going to know like, should I do this now? Should I talk about this later? Is she going to mention this? Like they're going to have no idea. So structure is really, really important. So number three, the problem that I see a lot of people having is they are not starting with the human. Let's talk about this, guys. Ideal avatar stuff is total crap. It's not going to help you get anywhere. What we want to do instead of trying to figure out who your client's ideal avatar is we really want to understand the real human who is buying something. I know you guys, again, have probably heard this too, but I think we just focus so much on that surface level stuff of like, here's an example of like, you know, who are they? What's their gender? What's their age? What's their job? All that stuff when it's like, who freaking cares? Like, that's not going to help you do anything when you're trying to come up with a really amazing website or really amazing logo. The other stuff behind why they make all these decisions and why they chose their job and why they're living in New York City is the real reason behind what's going to actually help them. So you can have the surface level avatar, you know, 30-something female lawyer living in NYC, has a small dog, married, shops at Anthropologie, and is active on Insta. Like that sounds like a stupid dating profile. Versus a deep level human introduction, which, you know, you get more to the heart of like they struggle with perfectionism. They talk to all of their friends before making a buying decision. They only shop at Anthropologie to validate themselves. The small details make a big difference to her. And she loves New York City because it makes her feel small in an important way. Like those are things that you can take and actually design from. And you can create a website and create an experience based off of those things because you're understanding why. Does that make sense, guys? Let me know if it is. So once you understand the human better, everything in the strategy session becomes built around this one person. It's not like this elusive process that is super confusing. You're like, okay, wait, what is the whole goal of this? Like, all you have to do is understand this one person and how they work. And the whole strategy session becomes built around that and solving their problems. And it's so much easier. Okay. Mistake number 4 that I always see is not asking enough or challenging enough follow-up questions. So I see that strategy sessions, I see this kind of presented before I get into the slide. So I see this problem, not asking enough challenging questions or enough follow-up questions. I see it presented in kind of 2 different fears that people have around strategy sessions. So I see that, and I see this pop up in this one. I see that strategy sessions scare people a lot because they're afraid to look dumb. Second, I also see people still getting surface level answers because they're scared to push back. So the solution to being scared to look dumb, you're like, I don't want to do a strategy session because I don't have all the answers. I don't know what I'm going to be saying. I don't want to look dumb in front of my clients. Like, that sounds scary to have to like work on the spot and feeling like you're just not getting anywhere, you're not getting deep stuff. The solution to all that stuff is just to ask better follow-up questions, to dig deeper, to push back, and to really figure out why all this stuff is happening. Don't be afraid to challenge your client and ask them, like, tell me a little bit more about that. Can you expand on that one idea here? And dig deeper on something that interests you and sparks a little like, light inside you. And the reason why we want to do this is because ideally a conversation is going to start to develop between the interviewer, you, and your client, which is the interviewee, rather than just like this rapid exchange of questions and one-line responses. If we're going to do that, you might as well just send a questionnaire. It's no better than a questionnaire, right? So to give you guys a little bit of help here, a few of my favorite things that I like to go deeper into is the struggles that their current audience has, objections standing in the way between them and a purchase, and what's important to them, what they value, things in their life that they love, that type of stuff. So that wraps up everything for the strategy session. Just to recap here really quick. The biggest problem I see with people is not asking enough challenging questions or follow-up questions. People aren't starting with the human. They're not using a presentation tool to organize or take notes. And the strategy session isn't a phone call where your client gets to talk about their ideas. Okay, guys, let me know if you have any questions, but we're going to move on to the brand carry-all or the brand strategy session document, whatever you want to call it. So this is kind of a screenshot of my brand carry-all template that I give all of my students. Basically what it is, on a surface level view, it's a organized PDF of all the information that is building up to your design ideas. That's how I like to see it. We can see it as this big compilation of pages or documents that go into like who they are and why this is important and da da da. But for you as a designer, why all this stuff is important is because it's building up to your design ideas and how this is going to create an amazing experience and an amazing brand. And so my strategy section document is laid out in a very, very strategic way that it builds up on one another and ultimately leads to like the perfect presentation to design ideas. One of the reasons why I haven't even talked about this, but one of the main reasons why I love brand strategy so much is because you get to go through all of this. Oh, I guess I am going to talk about it a little bit here, but you get to go through all of your ideas before you actually execute them. So let me talk about it more here because it's going to make more sense. So the brand carry-all is so important for all these reasons. It shows the why behind everything that you're doing. You get to connect it to very, very strategic reasons. It's not just like, oh, like if you've ever been like this, if you've ever thought that like, oh my gosh, in my head, I know that blue needs to be their color, but I don't know why. Brand strategy makes you think about and tangibly understand why is your brain thinking blue and writing it down and showing it in a way that makes sense to your client. Second is you get approval on all of your ideas before you waste time trying things out, and nothing is a surprise anymore. So just like I was saying on this slide, like, guys, the whole strategy session is leading up to you presenting all of your ideas, and it takes so much of the revision process out because you get to connect all of your ideas with this amazing evidence to back it up, and then all you have to do is go and execute it. Nothing's a surprise. Nothing's like, whoa, where did this come from? You're showing it all in the brand strategy. Third reason why the brand carry-all is so important is you show your client how important your thinking is, not the doing and not the checking things off the list. How many of you guys would like to be known as an awesome thinker rather than just like an awesome designer? Because here's the thing, anyone can create a really pretty logo. Anyone can create a really awesome website. If I was to look at this really beautiful website and I think any of us could figure out like, yeah, I could do that. If you're looking at the Nike logo, I think anyone in the world could be like, yeah, I think I could draw that. Like, I have the skills to do that, right? Like, that's not why us as designers are so important. And that's not why you as a designer are so important, because the skills that you have are not what's going to set you apart, and they're not going to bring you to a $10,000 charging point. It's the way you think. It's the experiences behind you that have built up to how you do your process, to how you create things in your brain, and how that shows up. And so I want you guys to be known as designers who have a beautiful way of strategic thinking rather than creating a beautiful aesthetic. Again, that aesthetic stuff is important and it's always going to come out, but anyone can do that. But you're the only one who can think the way that you can do and problem solve the way that you can problem solve. You have that unique gift yourself and nobody can take that away. So third reason is you show your client, fourth reason, I lied. Fourth reason is you're thinking through everything before you show your client. You understand on a deeper level why everything is happening rather than just going with it feels right. And with a brand carryall, we're just going to talk about the biggest mistake that people make when creating a brand carryall and how to fix that mistake. So the biggest mistake that I always see when people are doing brand strategy and when they're trying to compile it for their clients is they forget the original thing that we talked about at the beginning of this lesson, is they forgot that $10,000 problem that they're trying to solve. And they just throw up this brand strategy to the client and without any real purpose or intent in mind. So they create a brand strategy carryall that too many people don't create a brand strategy or brand carryall that solves the 10K problem. So think about it. So after you fill out this cute template that you bought from Creative Market, or if you're in my course, the Brand Mapping Method, my beautiful template, are you closer to solving the original problem that they came to you for? Whether that's connection with their audience, getting more sales, getting an online presence, whatever that is, after you create this brand strategy document, do you have a clear understanding of how to get to this very specific problem that you and your client have identified? And if not, then we're not doing it right. So what I want you guys to do, again, or you just, a lot of it, I feel like designers are just doing it because they feel like they're supposed to be doing this to be a good designer, and they're not actually solving the problem. So I'm challenging you to create a brand strategy document just centered around just solving one $10,000 problem. Like, go through each page of your brand strategy document if you have it, like, and ask yourself, is this one page by itself solving the 10, and adding, even maybe that one page doesn't solve the $10,000 problem by itself, but is it adding to the solution of that $10,000 problem? Is it contributing to that in a unique way? So when you're writing out, creating an audience persona, like, I want you to think about, like, what do we need to know about the audience, this audience person, as I'm creating this fake avatar you want to create? Like, what do I need to know about her in order to drive more website sales? If I'm creating a competition analysis, what do we need to know about the competition in order to drive more website sales? Specifically, those solutions. So if you're creating a mood board, how is this going to create more website sales? Like, again, everything needs to be connected to that problem that you're trying to solve. So let's just recap. That's everything I have for you guys today. So I want you guys to I'm just going to recap this lesson really quick. You can't charge 10K without solving a 10K problem. That's why brand strategy is so stinking important, because we're solving problems, and it's not about making more. It's not about doing more. It's about solving a $10,000 problem. And let me add this too, that brands that have $10,000 to spend, that have that kind of money, they know that they have a problem to solve. And they're not just going to go to somebody who they are like, yeah, this looks pretty, just to check a logo on a website off of their list. They are going to go to somebody that they know can solve this very specific problem that they have in mind. Trust me, after working with lots and lots of brands, at a $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 level, like they're in serious, maybe not crisis mode with COVID hitting. A lot of them were, and so they came to me, and I had way more sales during COVID because I solved really big problems, and people, just kind of hit the fan, and people were like, crap, I don't have time to mess around. I need to get my stuff together, and I need to go with someone who's actually going to solve stuff for me and fix my problems. And I want you guys, and I know you can, be the type of people who solve huge problems for your clients. And you need to be known as that person. You need to become the brand strategist in order to do that. Second, branding isn't about pretty. It's being about pretty. Branding isn't about pretty. It's about being distinctive. It's all about creating that niche space. Third, brand strategy is broken up into the strategy session and then the brand carry-all. First the strategy session and then the brand carry-all. Okay, so I've now shown you how I book 10K clients using brand strategy, and it all really, really boils down to this, is I figured out how to add really great value to my clients' lives, and in turn, I have received that value right back. Okay, let me go to the next slide. So now I coach other designers and put out education where you can learn more about how I've grown profitable business in the other short years. But the thing is I wouldn't have had any of this if I hadn't built a strong foundation of giving the very, very best to my clients and evoking huge change in their businesses. And honestly, I really only have brand strategy to thank for that. And I know 100% that I would not be where I'm at today if I weren't for brand strategy. And if I can go from this directionless crazy weirdo that had absolutely no idea what I was doing at 19 years old to now 10xing the prices of what my competitors are booking and consistently booking that, creating this crazy business all by the age of 22. I mean, I'm now 24, but it was really, really successful by the age of 22, then you can do it too. Remember, when I first started my business, I was charging $400 a project. My first full branding project was $800. Like, it was nothing that was livable on. And the next year I took on 15 design projects, and I was getting so burnt out and feeling like I wasn't adding any value to my clients' lives. Like, it just felt like it was not really doing anything for them. It just felt like it was all surface level. It was all just pretty stuff. And when I decided to actually master brand strategy, that's honestly when it all changed for me, because I was able to focus on becoming the best designer and strategist and deliver the highest level experience that I knew I could offer. Like the experience that I knew was in there, and I was solving the problems that I knew I could. I just didn't have the process or the tools to do it yet. And now that's when I started booking projects at 10K and 13K, and now consistently really at 15K, and not to mention now all this other stuff like teaching you guys that I get to do. And I know a lot of you are super excited to hear about my course, The Brand Mapping Method, so if it's okay, I'm just going to talk about it for a little bit. I have a really cool offer for those of you guys who have stayed all the way to the end, because I really do appreciate you. If you're not interested, you're totally fine to not be interested, but this is my framework. If you want my framework of how I've used brand strategy, plus so many other things, I invite you to continue to listen. So my course is called The Brand Mapping Method. And while I've given you some stuff that you can use within the past 24 hours, just like I said, this is like my actual tangible process with all my templates, with all my step-by-step videos and all that stuff. So that you don't have to figure this out all by yourself, and I'm not going to make you empty your bank account to figure this out too, because honestly, this stuff that I put in the brand mapping method took me thousands of, I'm not exaggerating, thousands of hours, lots of time and investments, and so much money. So yeah, this is the framework that I teach you. So with all that being said though, I mean, the brand strategy framework is not super self-explanatory. Part of the reason why I created this course is because I was looking for something like this on the internet. Like, honestly, if I had found something on the internet like this to buy at the time 5 years ago, there was not really anything out there, I would have bought it. At least something that was super applicable for me and not super corporate-y or whatever. And I mean, sure, like a quick Google search can teach you the basics of what's supposed to go into brand strategy, but putting everything together into something tangible with templates and in a way that works for my clients was really, really, really difficult. And that's totally different. And that's, I think, why most people fail at taking their business to the next level, because there's a lot to a high level process and to solving high level problems that goes into it. So yeah, I spent months and months and months and so many late nights trying to master this process. Okay, so I want you to meet some of my students. This is Suzanne. Freaking love Suzanne. This is what she said about taking the course. So she said, if you are a self-taught designer like me, or simply want to stop taking orders as a designer, this is the most comprehensive course for you. Immediately after completing the course, I gained the confidence I needed to present my design decisions, knowing that they were strategically made and backed up with comprehensive research. Not only that, but I was able to charge my worth and position myself as an expert, and I found that being a brand designer is the best way I can serve my clients and really say that I love what I do. And here's Michelle's experience. So she said, before taking BMM, I was really unsure if I was approaching strategy in like the right way, which made me hesitant to up my prices even though I felt confident in my design work. After learning more about how Carly develops her design solutions, I was really inspired and could see that learning how she approaches strategy would completely take my work to another level and allow me to serve my clients better. I now feel confident in what I present to my clients, that I'm really giving them the best solution to their problems, and that I am worth every penny that I charge and then some. And this means so much to me that I am able to show up confidently in my business and know I can do my best work possible. Seriously, if you want to up-level your graphic design business, this is the course for you. And just to brag a little bit, this is some of the work that my students have created. They're freaking awesome. Just had to brag and put them in there. So what are all my students learning inside the course? I'm going to take you a little bit on a tour of the curriculum so you can kind of know what we actually teach about. So the brand mapping method is a 3-hour-long course and includes 4 different phases and over 40 videos. Now, let me say, this is how it is now. We're actually working on amping this up even more, adding a whole nother module that's like just really, really in-depth, adding workbooks, things like that. We're continually adding and improving this course. Even though it's already amazing, we just love to add more. So let's get into phase 1. So phase 1 is brand research and exploration. So that you can find every brand's hidden answers. Inside this phase, I teach you how to get the answers out of a client that you need. This includes my signature 3-step research process that allows me to create value throughout the entire branding process. If you've ever heard of a devil Pinterest board, you will soon. We talk all about that inside the course. Okay, in phase 2, in the brand mapping, or AKA creating the brand carry-all, this is where I'm going to teach you how to take all of that research that you just did in phase 1 and how to actually turn it into solutions for your client. This is the 40-page client that I give my clients. I have a video for every single page that I send to my clients, and it's filled with all of the insights that I found from phase 1. So if you remember that hiking metaphor from earlier on, this is kind of where I envision the brand carry-all as like that heavy-duty backpack that I give my clients with everything that they need to help them with their niche. The carry-all is broken down into 3 sections called the compass, the gear, and the map. And again, there's a video for every single page in the brand carry-all to help you along the way. Now, phase 3, this is where you're going to present your work so that you are not wondering what to do with it now that you're done, so that you can hit send with confidence and you don't ever have to like be super nervous about doing that. So I teach you how to present the brand carry-all to your clients and set yourself up for success. I'll teach you how to organize it, send it, get feedback that doesn't turn into a total nightmare process. This is the module. This module is the one that has taken the anxiety completely out of hitting send for me. Like, honestly, I don't worry about it anymore, which is crazy. That used to be the biggest stressor, like sending something and waiting for the feedback. That's not even a problem anymore. Okay, and then phase 4, creating the designs and the assets. It's time to put it all together. So this is where I teach you to turn a finalized strategy into creative tangibles like logo design, web design, copy, photos, and so on. And I also have experts in each of those fields who are going to come in and share even more information. So much goodness. And so you're going to go from not even having a brand strategy process to speak of to having this full-blown templates course, everything to help you get off your feet. Get off your feet, get on your feet. You want to be on your feet. That's what the saying is. So here's a peek at the individual modules. In phase 1, brand research and exploration, you're going to learn my signature 3-step research process, which is step 1, the questionnaire, the double Pinterest board, and then the strategy session. And then in phase 2, you are going to get introduced to what the brand carryall even is, and then you're going to learn how to create the map, the compass, and the gear. And then in phase 3, we're going to talk about how to organize the brand carryall, how to send the brand carryall, and then how to finalize the brand carryall. And then in phase 4, we're going to talk about designing from the brand carryall, like how to infuse your, here it is, how to infuse your logos with insights from your brand strategy, and how to create a website infused with brand strategy. So when you finish the course, you're going to feel so confident that you can easily implement my brand mapping method into your business, deliver so much value to your clients, and take on the role of the strategist. So you're going to be able to raise your prices super easily, my friend. So you could learn all this stuff on your own. You could, great. If you want to go ahead and do it. But just so you know what it took me, it took me 2 years of throwing spaghetti at the wall. And I'm still perfecting the process. Like, just so you know, like how I said, we're adding things to it. Like, we are constantly improving this and adding things to it. It's never a stagnant thing. Like, it's something that we are constantly investing in so that we can improve on it. So, but just to get to the point where I felt confident enough to say, yes, this is my brand strategy process, and compiling everything that I researched together, it took me 2 years of throwing spaghetti at the wall and just testing to see what would work and what didn't. I read 36 books on philosophies, not actual tangible techniques. Like, some people are like, what are your favorite books about brand strategy? And I'm like, there's not very many that, like, they're all really great philosophies, but there's just nothing on there giving you an actual step-by-step process about what actually goes into brand strategy. So most of them were on anything from like human design to interior design to just marketing and how people think and how to make brands different, all that stuff. Like, and this book list is probably even bigger now because, again, we're still working on it. And took 10 different clients at least, hundreds of blogs and YouTube videos, and multiple of thousands of dollars in coaching techniques that allowed me to still not find a tangible technique. Again, if I could find a course back in the day when I was doing this, I would have. And that's honestly, so now that I just talked to you guys about that, that's just the lecture portion. You are going to also have access to so many bonuses. We are adding a whole extra bonus session about how to automate the branding process. But you're also going to get how to differentiate yourself and brand yourself as a brand strategist, how to get your next client, the brand strategy process. This is like a checklist that you can put into your Asana or you can put in your Google Drive. It's just to basically keep you organized, the whole entire process. And real life examples, so you get to see me in a strategy session with a real client figuring out how it works. So in how to differentiate and brand yourself as a brand strategist, I'm going to teach you the tangible things that you need right now to stand out in the marketplace so that you can raise your rates. And if you wish that you could just snap your fingers and have a ready to book client standing at your doorstep, it's not quite that easy, but we are going to go through some really, really tangible strategies if you're struggling to get another client about what you can do about that. And then the template library. This is chock full, my friends, of templates. Like, so many freaking templates for the entire process. I've got so many processes and templates in there. Honestly, if I was to sell all of those, it would probably be over $1,000, just the template library by itself. And my favorite one is the brand strategy process from start to finish. This is such a beauty of a checklist. I've organized everything, color-coded it, task-membered it out, linked it to the appropriate templates. It is a beautiful template if you are a fan of organization. Okay, and then last but not least, in the real life examples, I walk you through me actually doing strategy sessions and things like that, so you don't have to wonder what it actually looks like. And if you were to pay me for all these bonuses separately, I would probably charge you around $2,500. So just so you know, like, that really is what it is worth. And to add to all that awesomeness, you also get a Brand Mapping Method Facebook group. This is where I do super awesome inside details. I'm super transparent about things that we're adding to our process, and it's just a great place to ask questions and talk with other brand mappers. And just because I love you guys so much, what we are doing right now is we are doing a monthly group coaching call. So you get to hop on the phone call with me once a month and ask any and all questions that you want. I don't know how long we're going to be doing this. Like, I used to limit this course to be 12 months long, and now it's just lifetime, and I really enjoy just doing these group coaching calls. And so I just decided to keep it on, and they'll just be there. And you also can watch the previous coaching calls too in the Facebook group. We link them there. So that's a lot. All of that breaks down to 4-phase module, bonus modules, Facebook group, and group coaching, all for the lovely price of $9.97. Not to mention, almost every single student in my program has been able to double the rates. Of course, I haven't talked to every single student individually, but like every single one that I've talked to has been able to double the rates within 3 months of taking BMM. So yeah, you will get your money back most likely. And if you buy, there's a little timer, I'm sure at the top of the website. If you buy before that timer goes out, you get an amazing bonus, guys. It's so good. It's something that I normally sell for $300. It's actually a part, if you are familiar with my 10K GG high level mastermind, it's a whole module of my mastermind that I have bonused you guys all about how to sell brand strategy. I give you every template that you will ever need. Like, I give you my sales script. I give you an hour long video about how to use the script and all that stuff, and my selling philosophy, how you can sell for 10K plus stuff. I give you my proposal template. I give you cheat sheet, objection cheat sheet. So if you're on a sales call and someone has an objection, I've got cheat sheet scripts written out there right there for you that you can use on the sales calls. And I've also got like 2 other cheat sheets that won't really make sense unless you watch the class inside there that are going to help you. So honestly, that course alone, even $300, I'm like, it's such a good course. It's my whole selling philosophy that you can get only if you buy within a certain amount of time up above. Okay, so, and maybe you're not sure if this is going to work for you. I'll tell you if this is going to work for you. If you are looking for someone if you are trying to look for adding more value to your branding process, up-leveling your branding work at every level, if you want to start producing the work that attracts higher-end clients, or if you're a beginner designer and you just want to start correctly right out of the gate, this is for you. Again, I wish I had this process when I first started. So, are you ready to reach new heights in your business? If you're like, yeah, Carly, that sounds great, but like, how much money are we talking here? Well, I'm going to paint a picture for you. One, you can spend all of your time Googling like I did, or you can spend like 3 hours learning what it took me I said year, but it took me 2 years, and it's still learning what to do. So, which one do you want to do? So, with all that time, strategy, and know-how it has taken me, honestly, I value this course at probably $11,500. It's taken me a lot to do that, but if all it did was just double your income, like, would it be worth it? Yes, 100%. Now, I'm not going to charge you $11,500. That seems scammy and dumb. So what the price is you can get it now for just 12 payments of $97. So click the button. There's so many buttons below. You can see the full sales page, guys, right there below, and you can opt in to do the payment plan of 12 payments of $97, or you can do the whole payment of $9.97, and yeah, choose which one. But if you have any specific questions, like if you're looking through the sales page and you don't see a question answered, please let me know. You can always send us a email at hello@carliana.co, because we truly do want to make sure that this is a good fit for you. I will honestly tell you if I'm like, nope, you should probably wait 6 months, or you should probably try something different. I've told that to a lot of people. I want to make sure that this is a good fit for you. I'm not just here to try to sell you. Like, I want to help you. So I will be honest with you. And again, you can get all of this amazing goodness for just $97. So please, please join us. I would love to see your lovely face inside the group coaching and just inside the Facebook group and get to know you more. So a little over an hour ago, you might have been thinking like, gosh, is it really possible to book 10K clients using brand strategy? Or is it just too hard for me? Is it not possible in my market? And hopefully today I've shown you that it is definitely possible for you, and that brand strategy not only is going to help you get there, but it's going to up-level your work. It's going to save you hundreds of hours on client revisions. you're going to feel a huge difference in your creativity because you're going to be able to collaborate with your clients on a whole different level. And it's so simple that if you binge watch it next week, you could start using this strategy process next week. So I would love for you to join us. You can use the button below to enroll. It's $97 for $97 of 12 monthly payments, or you can pay in full and save $167, whichever works best for you. So yeah, click the button below. Now I'm going to do a quick Q&A, answering some common questions that people have about the course. One is, how long will I have access to the course? So you get lifetime access to the course. Like I said, for a few months I tried the 12-month access thing where you get 12 months access to a course, because I like the philosophy behind it, where it's like, yeah, you have 12 months to like learn it and get it and stuff. But I want to give you guys lifetime access. I really like you guys. So you have lifetime access to go through this entire course. You can totally do it at your own pace. Is BMM only for designers? Actually, it is not. I know you're probably thinking I was going to say yes, but it is not only for designers. It's for any service-based business that is working to develop other brands. So if you're a brand photographer, a copywriter, a website designer, you would definitely benefit from this. If you are just someone who really wants to solve deep problems for your clients and you work in like a B2B space, it's perfect for you. Now, can you sign up for BMM anytime? No, there's a little timer up above. I only offer this course at different times throughout the year, so no, I would hop on the chance while you can get it. Okay, is this a good fit for me? If you are ready to build a sought-after design business that adds a lot of value to your life, then yes. It's a great foundation course too. Like, I really, really wish I would have had this at the beginning, because it would have saved so much trauma for me. And it's gonna really, really up-level you to that new place where you can start charging high-end prices. And can I take this course at my own pace? For sure. Yes, 100%. Take it at your own pace. Do your thing, girl. Okay, does this course come with certification? Ooh, I'm so excited to talk about this. So as of fall 2020, yes, we are doing certification. There's going to be more details about this coming soon. But again, I would hop on this soon, because this is going to be an extra service, because I am individually going over all of your brand carryouts, all that stuff. Like, the certification process is a lot of time for me. Right now, we're doing it for all of the brand mapping method students who join right now, but in 6 months or so, it's probably going to be an additional cost to get certified. So you'll get a little badge and like a certificate and everything that you can like put on your website, that actually shows, yes, I am brand strategy certified. And if you're wondering, can I check out some of your work? Yes, you can. Carliana.co/portfolio. You can check out my stuff. I don't really understand why some people ask me this question, though, because you can look at some of my work, but a lot of the brand strategy stuff happens behind the scenes. And I don't think my portfolio is really going to show you a whole, it's not going to be like, oh yeah, great, I trust her brand strategy process by seeing what happens on the outside. Do you know what I mean? Now, I always try and show a case study with my portfolio and stuff and tell a story with that. But I'm not sure how helpful that's going to be for you. But if you really want to go check out my work, please do. If you have a few more questions and you want to contact me, yes, please contact me. Again, I want to make sure that this is a perfect fit for you. So email us, hello@carliana.com. Or guys, sorry, my throat. Put something in the chat box below and we will get back to you. So yeah, if you are ready to start, please join us. I would love to see your lovely face. 12 payments of $97 or just one payment of $97. Just go below, click what payment option you want, and I will see you there. I'm so excited to get to know you more in the brand mapping method, and thank you for joining this class. I hope you got a lot out of it. It's one of my favorite classes to teach. So yay! Hope you have a good rest of your day. Let me know if you have any questions. See you inside the group.